I want us to have an open marriage.
The champagne was still cold when Sage's husband detonated their marriage. I want to open
I
things
want
up,
us to have
David
an open
said,
marriage.
cutting his steak like he was discussing the weather. See other people. You know, explore. Explore, she repeated flatly. Come on, babe. We got together in college. Don't you ever wonder what else is out there? He reached across the table for her hand. She moved it to her wine glass. We could set ground rules. Keep it healthy. Rachel from the firm has been doing it for 3 years and… Rachel from the firm. Sage took a long sip of her wine. The one who laughs at all your jokes and touches your arm like you're the only man in the room? David had the audacity to look uncomfortable. It's not about her specifically. How long have you been planning this little speech? A few months, but… A few months. Sage set down her glass with perfect control, even though her hands wanted to shake. Even though she wanted to throw the entire table at him. While I was booking our anniversary trip to Tokyo. While I was looking at baby names because we agreed to start trying next year. Sage, you're being dramatic. No, David. I'm being clear. She stood up, smoothing her black dress. You want to open our marriage? Done. Consider it open. In fact, I'm going to start tonight. His face went pale. Wait. I think we should discuss boundaries first. The only boundary that matters is honesty, right? That's what you said. She pulled off her wedding ring and set it next to his plate with a soft clink. Don't wait up. Welcome back to Afro-Korean Obsession. Please like and subscribe for more. Sage made it to her car before the tears came. Then she drove until she found a bar that looked expensive enough to match her rage. The place was all low lighting and high prices, the kind of bar where everyone looked like they had blood on their hands or diamonds in their pockets. Possibly both. Sage slid onto a bar stool and flagged down the bartender, a woman with kind eyes and sleeve tattoos. Whiskey. The kind that costs more than good judgment. The bartender's mouth quirked. That kind of night? My husband just asked for an open marriage over our anniversary dinner. Jesus Christ. She poured something amber and expensive. This one's on me. I'm Mia. Sage. And thank you. She took a sip, letting it burn. Your tattoos are beautiful, by the way. Thanks. Got most of them after my divorce. Mia grinned. Highly recommend Revenge Inc. I'll keep that in mind. That's when Sage felt it. The weight of someone's attention, heavy and unapologetic. She turned her head and met the darkest eyes she'd ever seen. He sat 4 seats down, and the space between them felt deliberate. Like he'd calculated exactly how far away to be. He wore a black suit that probably cost more than her car, his dark hair pushed back to reveal a face that could have been carved from marble. Sharp jaw. Sharper cheekbones. A mouth that looked like it rarely smiled, but would be devastating when it did. But it was the tattoo that made her breath catch. A chain, rendered in intricate detail, wrapped around his left wrist and disappeared up his sleeve. Each link looked solid enough to hold something down. Or someone. He wasn't looking away. Wasn't pretending. He was staring at her with the kind of confidence that suggested he'd never been told no in his life and wouldn't know what to do with it if he was. Sage should have been intimidated. Instead, she picked up her drink and walked over. You're staring, she said, sliding onto the stool next to him without asking. I know. His voice was deep, slightly accented, and completely unrepentant. Korean, maybe. His eyes dragged down to her left hand, to the pale line where her ring used to be, then back up to her face. Bad night? The worst. You. I've had worse. He took a sip of whatever amber liquid was in his glass. Jung-Min. Sage. She gestured to Mia for another drink. So, what do you do, Jung-Min? Besides stare at women in bars. I solve problems. What kind of problems? The permanent kind. He said it so matter-of-factly that it took her a second to process. Then her brain caught up and she should have been scared, should have moved away. Instead, she laughed. Is that a pickup line? Because it's either terrible or genius and I can't decide which. The corner of his mouth lifted. Barely. But it was there. Not a line. Just a fact. So you're a criminal. I prefer entrepreneur. Right. And I'm sure your business model is very ethical. She accepted her second whiskey from Mia with a grateful nod. Let me guess, you run guns, drugs, or illegal gambling. You have an interesting way of flirting. Who says I'm flirting? Maybe I'm just interested in your felony count. She swirled her drink. For the record, I'm at 0. But the night is young. Jung-Min turned to face her fully, and the force of his attention was like standing too close to a fire. What happened tonight? What makes you think something happened? Your ring is gone, but the tan line isn't. You're drinking expensive whiskey like it's water. And you sat next to me instead of literally anyone safer in this bar. His eyes held hers. So, what happened? Sage took a long drink. My husband asked for an open marriage so he could sleep with his coworker. Over our anniversary dinner. With champagne. And you said? I said yes. His eyebrow lifted. You agreed. I told him I'd start tonight. She set down her glass. Then I left him sitting there and came here to figure out how to make him regret every word that came out of his smug mouth. Jung-Min was quiet for a moment, studying her like she was a puzzle he was deciding whether to solve. Revenge is expensive. I have money. I don't need money. His gaze dropped to her mouth, then back up. Deliberate. But I might need a favor someday. Warning bells should have been ringing. Should have been screaming. What kind of favor? I don't know yet. He finished his drink. But when I call it in, you don't get to say no. This was insane. She'd just met this man. This very dangerous, very beautiful man who'd basically admitted to being a criminal and was now proposing some kind of blank check deal. And what do I get in return? Sage asked. What do you want? I want my husband to understand what he threw away. I want him to see me with someone so far out of his league that he chokes on his regret. She leaned closer. I want him to hurt the way I'm hurting. Can you do that? Jung-Min's smile was slow and razor-sharp. Sweetheart, I can do a lot worse than that. I don't want worse. I want calculated. Strategic. She held his gaze. I want him destroyed, but I want it to look like happiness. Smart. He pulled out his phone. Give me your number. Why? Because if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. He handed her the phone. And doing it right means people believe it. Which means dinners. Events. Touching. His eyes glinted. Can you handle that? Sage's pulse kicked up. She took the phone and typed in her number. Can you? I don't do anything halfway, Sage. The way he said her name, like he was tasting it, sent heat down her spine. If we do this, people won't just believe we're together. They'll believe you ruined me for anyone else. Confident. Accurate. He stood, and she realized he was tall. Broad-shouldered. The kind of build that came from real work, not gym memberships. I'll text you tomorrow. We'll discuss terms. Terms? How long? What events? How physical you're comfortable getting? He shrugged into his jacket. And how badly you want him to suffer. Very badly. Good. Jung-Min pulled out his wallet and dropped several $100 bills on the bar, way more than their drinks cost. Then he looked at her one more time, his gaze heavy with promise. Get some sleep, Sage. You're going to need it. He walked out, and Sage realized she was holding her breath. Mia appeared at her elbow. Girl. What the hell just happened? I have no idea, Sage whispered. But I think I just made a deal with the devil. Nah. Mia grinned. The devil wouldn't look that good in a suit. Sage didn't sleep. She lay in her bed, her and David's bed, technically, though he'd texted 3 times asking where she was and she'd ignored all of them and stared at the ceiling. What had she done? Agreed to some nebulous arrangement with a man who'd essentially admitted to being a criminal. A man whose last name she didn't even know. A man who looked at her like he could see through her clothes and her skin and straight into her angry, broken heart. Her phone buzzed at 7 a.m. Unknown number, tomorrow night. I'll pick you up at 8. Where's something that'll make him wish he was dead? Unknown number, and Sage? Don't back out now. You already made the deal. She should have been scared. Should have blocked the number and gone to marriage counseling with David like a normal person. Instead, she texted back, I don't back out of anything. See you at 8. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Then, Jung-Min, good girl. Sage threw her phone across the room before she did something stupid like respond to that. David came home at noon. Sage was in the kitchen, drinking coffee and looking through her phone like her world hadn't ended 12 hours ago. Sage. He looked exhausted. Good. Can we talk? Sure. He sat down across from her, running his hands through his hair. I think I approached that wrong last night. I shouldn't have sprung it on you like that. No, you were very honest. I appreciate that. You do. He looked hopeful. Absolutely. In fact, I've already started seeing someone. The color drained from his face. What? You said I should explore, right? So I am. She sipped her coffee. His name is Jung-Min. We're having dinner tomorrow night. Sage, I didn't mean. Didn't mean what? That I should actually take you up on your offer. She set down her cup. Or did you just assume I'd sit home while you screwed Rachel from your firm? It's not like that. Then what's it like, David? Explain it to me. He opened his mouth. Closed it. I just think we should set some boundaries first. Talk about what's okay and what's not. You mean now that I'm the one doing it, suddenly we need rules? Sage stood up. I'm going out tomorrow night. And the night after that. And the night after that. And you're going to smile and pretend it's fine, just like you expected me to do. Who is this guy? Someone way out of your league. She rinsed her coffee cup. Don't wait up. The next evening, Sage stood in front of her closet having a minor crisis. Wear something that'll make him wish he was dead. She pulled out a red dress. Too obvious. A black one. Too safe. Then she saw it, a deep emerald silk number with a neckline that suggested everything and revealed just enough. She'd bought it 2 years ago and never had anywhere to wear it. Tonight felt appropriate. She was finishing her makeup when the doorbell rang at exactly 8 o'clock. David was on the couch, pretending to watch TV but actually seething. She could feel his eyes on her as she walked to the door. Jung-Min stood on her doorstep looking like every bad decision she'd ever wanted to make. Black shirt, sleeves rolled up to reveal that chain tattoo wrapping around his forearm. Dark slacks. Hair slightly mussed like he'd been running his hands through it. His eyes dragged down her body and back up so slowly she felt it like a touch. Hi, she said, suddenly breathless. Hi yourself. His voice was rough. Then, louder, clearly for David's benefit. You look incredible. He took her hand, his was warm, calloused, strong, and pulled her close enough that she caught his scent. Something expensive and dark. Cedar, maybe? Smoke. Play along, he murmured against her ear, then kissed her cheek just slowly enough to blur the line between performance and real. Sage's breath hitched. He pulled back and smiled at her like she was the only person in the world. Ready? Yes. Jung-Min's gaze slid past her to David, who'd stood up from the couch. You must be the husband. David looked like he wanted to throw a punch. And you are. Leaving. Jung-Min's smile was polite and utterly dismissive. He laced his fingers through Sage's and led her toward the sleek black car idling at the curb. A driver stood by the back door. Sage, David called out. We need to talk about this. No, we really don't. She let Jung-Min hand her into the car, the leather seats soft and expensive beneath her. Jung-Min slid in beside her. The door closed. And suddenly they were alone in the dark, intimate space. That, Sage said, was extremely satisfying. We're just getting started. He pulled out his phone. Smile. What? He wrapped an arm around her shoulders and held up his phone for a selfie. He's going to check your social media. Give him something to find. Sage leaned into him. He was solid and warm and smelled unfairly good and smiled. The camera flashed. Jung-Min studied the photo, then showed it to her. They looked perfect. Like one of those couples that made other people feel inadequate. His face was softer in the photo, his smile almost genuine as he looked at her. And she looked happy. Genuinely happy. I'm posting this, he said. You have social media? For situations like this, yes. He was already typing a caption. What sounds appropriately smitten but not desperate? Good company? Too vague. He thought for a moment, then typed, when she's worth canceling everything for. Sage's heart did something stupid in her chest. That's good. I know. He posted it and pocketed his phone. Now, let's discuss logistics. Logistics? How long we do this? What events we hit. How physical you're comfortable being in public. His eyes met hers in the dim light. Because if we're going to make your husband suffer, we need to commit to this. Half measures won't work. I can handle anything you can, Sage said. Can you? Jung-Min shifted closer. Not touching, but close enough that she felt the heat of him. Can you handle me putting my hand on your waist at dinner? Kissing your temple in public? Whispering things in your ear that make you blush? Her pulse was hammering. Yes. What about him seeing us together and knowing he can't have you back? Jung-Min's voice dropped lower. Because that's what this is, Sage. We're not just making him jealous. We're making him understand that he lost you. Really lost you. To someone better. You're very confident that you're better. I don't lie. He leaned back, giving her space to breathe. I've already had my people look into him. David Park, corporate lawyer, makes decent money, but lives above his means. Leased car. Mortgaged house. Credit card debt. How did you? I told you. I solve problems. Jung-Min's expression was unreadable. And Rachel Chen from his firm? They've been sleeping together for 8 months. The words hit like a physical blow. 8 months. While Sage had been planning their future, David had been building a separate one. How do you know? Hotels. Restaurants. I can get you proof if you want it for a divorce. Sage's hands were shaking. She pressed them together. Yes, I want proof. Done. Jung-Min pulled out his phone again and typed something. My lawyer will contact you this week. In the meantime, he looked up. How far are you willing to take this? What do you mean? Do you want to just make him jealous? Or do you want to destroy him? Jung-Min's eyes glinted. Because I can do both. But one is significantly more fun than the other. Sage thought about David's face last night. The casual way he'd suggested she open her heart and her marriage like it was nothing. The 8 months of lies. Destroy him, she said. Jung-Min's smile was sharp and beautiful. That's my girl. The car pulled up to a restaurant that Sage recognized immediately, Il Cielo, one of the most exclusive Italian places in the city. The kind of place with a 6-month waiting list. How did you get a reservation? She asked. I own it. Jung-Min stepped out and offered his hand. I own a lot of things. She took his hand warm, strong, that chain tattoo stark against his skin, and let him help her out. Immediately, his hand settled on the small of her back, possessive and warm through the thin silk of her dress. Remember, he murmured as they walked in, we're crazy about each other. You can't stop smiling. I can't stop touching you. That second part seems easy for you. You have no idea. His thumb traced small circles against her spine, and she shivered. The host took one look at Jung-Min and immediately led them to a private corner table. Candles. Wine already waiting. The works. You really do own this place, Sage said as Jung-Min held out her chair. I told you. I don't lie. He sat across from her, then immediately moved his chair around the corner of the table so they were at a 90-degree angle instead of across from each other. Close enough to touch. Wine. Please. He poured expensive red, the kind that probably cost more than her monthly car payment, and handed her a glass. Their fingers brushed. She told herself the spark was static. So, Sage said, taking a sip, tell me about yourself, Jung-Min. If we're going to convince people we're madly in love, I should probably know more than your first name and your felony count. He laughed, actually laughed, a low, rough sound that did things to her pulse. What do you want to know? How old are you? 34. Born in Korea? Seoul. Moved here when I was 16. He swirled his wine. You. Born and raised in California. 32. Corporate strategist, which I'm sure sounds boring compared to your whole mysterious criminal empire thing. It's not boring. His eyes met hers. Strategy is just another form of control. You'd be good at what I do. Solving permanent problems? Making people understand consequences. He leaned closer. Your husband thought he could have everything. You, Rachel, his perfect life. You're teaching him that actions have prices. With your help. I have selfish reasons. Jung-Min's gaze dropped to her mouth. You're interesting, Sage. And I don't find many people interesting anymore. Her breath caught. What's the tattoo mean? He glanced down at the chain wrapped around his wrist. It reminds me that everyone is bound to something. Choices, debts, promises. What are you bound to? Right now? His eyes lifted. This deal with you. The air between them felt electric. Sage knew she should pull back, remind herself this was fake, but Jung-Min. A man approached their table, older, expensive suit, nervous smile. I didn't know you'd be here tonight. Jung-Min's expression didn't change, but something in the air shifted. Got colder. Chan. Enjoying your evening? Yes, yes. Just here with my wife. He gestured vaguely. I wanted to say, about the shipment issue, we resolved it. No problems. Good. Jung-Min's voice was pleasant and absolutely terrifying. Let's keep it that way. Of course. Of course. Chen's eyes slid to Sage. Sorry to interrupt your date. He scurried away. Shipment issue? Sage asked. Nothing you need to worry about. Jung-Min took a sip of wine. Tell me about your work. What does a corporate strategist do? You're changing the subject. I am. He smiled. Because if I tell you too much about what I actually do, you'll either run screaming or get yourself into trouble trying to help. And I like you not in danger. I can handle myself. I'm sure you can. His hand found hers on the table, his thumb tracing her knuckles. But humor me anyway. The touch should have been for show. But there was no one watching them in their private corner. Sage's phone buzzed. She glanced at it. David, where are you? David, we need to talk about this. David, Sage, this isn't funny. She turned the phone screen toward Jung-Min. He's spiraling. Good. Jung-Min took her phone and typed something, then showed her. Sage, can't talk. On a date. Don't wait up. Then he took a photo of their joined hands on the table, his chain tattoo stark and masculine against her delicate fingers, and sent it. You're evil, Sage said. You're welcome. He handed back her phone and laced his fingers through hers properly. Now, tell me what you want to eat so I can order you something that'll photograph well. You're documenting the entire night? Every minute. By tomorrow morning, your husband will understand exactly what he lost. Jung-Min's smile was sharp. And he'll spend the rest of his life regretting it. Dinner was perfect. Too perfect. Jung-Min ordered for both of them, somehow knowing she was allergic to shellfish without asking, and kept up a steady stream of conversation that ranged from books to travel to their most embarrassing moments. You broke your arm falling off a trampoline at a business conference? Sage was laughing so hard she could barely breathe. I was 30 years old. It was humiliating. But he was smiling, really smiling, and it transformed his face from intimidating to devastating. Your turn. Most embarrassing moment. I gave a presentation to 40 executives with my skirt tucked into my underwear. Jung-Min's eyes went wide. No. For 20 minutes. No one told me until afterward. She covered her face. I wanted to die. But you survived. His hand squeezed hers. That's the thing about embarrassment. It feels world-ending, but it never actually is. Spoken like someone who's done worse than trampoline injuries. Oh, I've done much worse. His thumb traced circles on her palm. But those stories aren't first date appropriate. First date. Right. This was fake. She needed to remember that. What about your family? Sage asked, desperate to change the subject before she forgot this was pretend. Something shuddered in his expression. Parents died when I was 19. Car accident. After that, I came here and built what I have now. I'm sorry. Don't be. It was a long time ago. But his hand tightened on hers. What about yours? Mom's in Arizona with her book club and her yoga instructor boyfriend. Dad remarried and has a whole new family in Oregon. She shrugged. We're cordial. Send cards at Christmas. But we're not close. So you built your own family with David. Yeah. And look how that turned out. The words came out bitter. Jung-Min lifted her hand and pressed his mouth to her knuckles. The gesture was soft, unexpected, and definitely not for show since no one was watching. His loss, Jung-Min said quietly. Not yours. Sage's heart did something complicated in her chest. The waiter appeared with dessert, tiramisu, 1 plate, 2 spoons. A couple's dessert. Jung-Min pulled his chair even closer and fed her the first bite, his eyes locked on hers. How is this? He murmured. Good. Her voice came out breathless. Really good. He took the next bite himself, then offered her another. The intimacy of it, sharing a plate, being close enough to feel his breath, was almost too much. Jung-Min, she said. Why are you really doing this? I told you. You're interesting. That's not a reason to fake date someone and systematically destroy their ex. He set down the spoon. You want the truth? Always. I liked the way you walked into that bar last night. Like you were furious, but holding it together through sheer will. His eyes held hers. And I liked the way you looked at me like you knew I was dangerous, but you didn't care. Most people are afraid of me, Sage. You weren't. Maybe I'm stupid. Or maybe you recognize something in me. His hand came up to cup her jaw, thumb tracing her cheekbone. We're the same, you and I. We don't accept defeat. We strategize. We win. This isn't winning. This is revenge. What's the difference? He leaned closer. He broke the rules. Now you're making him pay. That's not revenge. That's consequences. Sage couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. This is fake. Is it? Jung-Min's thumb brushed the corner of her mouth. Because it's starting to feel pretty real to me. Her phone buzzed. Shattered the moment. David, who is he, Sage? David, I can't find anything about him online. David, please call me. I think I made a mistake. She showed Jung-Min the messages. He smiled, cold and satisfied. He's scared, Jung-Min said. Good. What do I say? Nothing. Let him wonder. He pulled back, giving her space. Come on. I'll take you home. The drive back was quieter. Sage's head was spinning from wine and proximity and the way Jung-Min had looked at her over dessert like she was something precious. They pulled up to her house. David's car was in the driveway. He's waiting for you, Jung-Min observed. Probably. Want me to come in? Make a scene? No. I can handle him. But she didn't move to get out of the car. Jung-Min turned to face her. Sage. Yeah. Tonight was he paused. I don't usually enjoy these things. Business dinners. Performances. But tonight I did. Me too. So we'll do it again. Tomorrow if possible. His eyes searched hers. Your husband needs to see us together constantly. He needs to understand this isn't a fling. Okay. But Jung-Min still didn't move. Just looked at her like he was memorizing her face. Sage made a decision. Probably a stupid one. She leaned forward and kissed his cheek, just a brush of lips against skin, but she felt him inhale sharply. Thank you, she said. For tonight. Anytime. His voice was rough. She got out of the car before she did something really stupid like kiss him properly. David opened the front door before she reached it. Sage. Not tonight, David. She moved past him. I'm tired. Who is that? Someone who doesn't ask me to share. She walked upstairs to the guest bedroom. She couldn't sleep in their bed anymore, and closed the door. Her phone buzzed. Jung-Min, sleep well, sweetheart. Tomorrow we make him suffer more. Jung-Min. Image. Her laughing at the restaurant, Jung-Min watching her with an expression that looked remarkably like genuine fondness. Jung-Min. Posted this one too. Let him see what happy looks like. Sage stared at the photo. At the way Jung-Min was looking at her. That wasn't fake. Couldn't be. Could it? The next 2 weeks were a blur of perfectly orchestrated public appearances. Jung-Min took her to art galleries and charity galas. To exclusive clubs where everyone knew his name and stepped aside. To quiet cafes where he'd pull her chair close and feed her bites of pastry while maintaining intense eye contact. Every moment was documented. Every touch calculated to drive David insane. Except it was starting to not feel calculated at all. You're staring, Sage said one evening. They were at another restaurant, Korean this time, Jung-Min teaching her how to wrap Sam properly. I'm appreciating. His hand covered hers, guiding her movements. There's a difference. What's the difference? Staring is passive. Appreciating is he paused. Active. Intentional. I'm choosing to look at you. Very smooth. I don't do smooth. I do honest. He released her hand. Try it now. She wrapped the Sam carefully and took a bite. Flavors exploded, savory, spicy, fresh. Oh my God. Good. Incredible. She made another one. Okay, your turn. Most embarrassing food moment. Jung-Min's eyes crinkled. I threw up on a date once. Too much soju. No. First date. She never spoke to me again. Sage was laughing. How old were you? 23. Old enough to know better. He stole a piece of her Sam. But in my defense, her ex was at the same bar and I was nervous. You? Nervous? I was young. Stupid. He shrugged. I grew out of it. Into mysterious criminal empire builder. Something like that. Jung-Min's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, frowned. Everything okay? Work. He typed something quickly. Nothing urgent. You know, I still don't really know what you do. You don't want to know. Maybe I do. Jung-Min set down his phone and looked at her seriously. Sage. The less you know, the safer you are. Trust me on this. I'm already in pretty deep, aren't I? Fake dating you. Letting you destroy my ex. This is different. He ran a hand through his hair. I can control this. I can't control the other parts of my life. Are you in danger? Not currently. That's not reassuring. It's honest. He reached across and took her hand. But I promise you, whatever happens, it won't touch you. I'll make sure of it. The intensity in his voice made her shiver. Her phone buzzed. David. Again. David, please talk to me. David, I ended things with Rachel. It's over. Can we try again? David, Sage, I love you. I made a mistake. She showed Jung-Min. He ended it with her. Too late. Jung-Min's expression hardened. He doesn't get to hurt you and then crawl back when he realizes the grass isn't greener. I know. Sage swallowed. Part of me wonders if I'm being too harsh. If I should try counseling or... No. Jung-Min's grip on her hand tightened. Sage, listen to me. He didn't make one mistake. He had an affair for 8 months. He planned that speech. He calculated how to keep you while sleeping with someone else. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. You're right. I know I'm right. He lifted her hand and pressed his mouth to her palm. You deserve someone who wouldn't even think of looking at someone else. The words hung between them. Jung-Min. I know. This is fake. But his thumb was tracing circles on her wrist. But hypothetically, if it were real, you'd deserve that. Sage's heart was hammering. Hypothetically. Hypothetically. They stared at each other. The restaurant faded away. We should go, Jung-Min said finally. Before I do something stupid. Like what? Like forget this is supposed to be revenge and not real. The breaking point came 3 days later. David showed up at her office. Sage was in a meeting when her assistant knocked urgently. Your husband is here. He won't leave. Ex-husband, Sage corrected. Tell him I'm busy. But David pushed past into the conference room. Sage, please. 5 minutes. Her colleagues looked uncomfortable. Sage stood up. Excuse me. She followed David into the hallway, furious. You can't just show up at my work. I'm losing my mind. David's voice cracked. You're with him constantly. Every time I check social media, there's another photo. You look so happy and he grabbed her hands. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. But we can fix this. We can go to counseling. Start over. Sage pulled her hands away. You don't get to do this. You don't get to blow up our marriage and then decide you want it back when I'm finally moving on. Moving on? It's been 3 weeks. You can't possibly have real feelings for him already. Why not? You had real feelings for Rachel for 8 months. David flinched. How did you? I know everything, David. The hotels. The restaurants. All of it. She crossed her arms. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? Sage. No. We're done. My lawyer will contact you about the divorce. Divorce? He looked genuinely shocked. You're actually leaving me? You left me first. I'm just making it official. She turned to go back to her meeting. David grabbed her arm. Not hard, but enough to stop her. Is it because of him? Because he's rich? Powerful? Let go of me. Does he even care about you? Or are you just another? A hand clamped down on David's wrist. Hard enough that David gasped and released Sage immediately. Jung-Min stood there, his expression blank but his eyes murderous. She said, let go. Who the hell are you two? I'm the man who's about to break your wrist if you touch her again. Jung-Min's voice was conversational, but the threat was real. Sage could see David's face going white from the pressure. Jung-Min, she said quietly. He's not worth it. Jung-Min held on for another second, long enough to make his point, then released David with a slight shove. David stumbled back, cradling his wrist. How did you even know I was here? Sage asked. I have your location. Jung-Min didn't take his eyes off David. You think I'd let you out of my sight without making sure you're safe? That's stalking? Controlling? Except all Sage felt was protected. Intense. I don't do things halfway. Jung-Min finally looked at her. You okay? I'm fine. You're harassing her, David said, finding his courage now that his wrist was free. Following her. Tracking her. That's not healthy. Neither is asking for an open marriage so you can fuck your coworker. Jung-Min smiled pleasantly. But here we are. Sage, you can't seriously be okay with this. He's dangerous. I looked into him. There are rumors about illegal. David. Sage's voice was ice. Leave. Now. Before I call security. You're making a mistake. The only mistake I made was staying with you as long as I did. She moved to stand next to Jung-Min. We're done. Accept it. David looked between them, and something in his face crumbled. You love him. Sage opened her mouth to deny it. This was fake. This was revenge. This was... Yes, she heard herself say. I do. The words hung in the air. Jung-Min went very still beside her. David laughed bitterly. 3 weeks. It took you 3 weeks to replace 8 years. No, Sage said quietly. It took you 8 months of lying to destroy 8 years. I'm just moving forward. David stared at her for a long moment, then turned and walked away. Sage waited until he was gone, then sagged against the wall. Oh my God. You told him you love me. Jung-Min's voice was carefully neutral. I was selling it. Making it believable. She couldn't look at him. That's what you wanted, right? For him to think it's real. Right. Jung-Min stepped closer. That's what I wanted. Then why do you sound upset? I'm not upset. He cupped her face, tilting it up so she had to meet his eyes. I'm terrified. Of what? That you meant it. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. And that I want you to mean it. Sage's breath caught. Jung-Min. This was supposed to be fake, Sage. Revenge. A performance. His other hand came up to frame her face. But somewhere between the first dinner and right now, it stopped being fake for me. When? The bar. That first night. He laughed quietly. You sat down next to me like you owned the world, and I was gone. I've just been pretending it was still an act. Her heart was hammering so hard she could barely breathe. This is crazy. We barely know each other. I know you're brilliant and funny and stronger than you think. I know you take your coffee with cream but no sugar. I know you bite your lip when you're thinking and you laugh with your whole body. His forehead dropped to hers. I know that 3 weeks ago you walked into a bar looking for revenge and accidentally ruined me for anyone else. Jung-Min. Tell me you don't feel it too. Tell me I'm imagining this and I'll back off. We'll finish the revenge plot, destroy your ex, and walk away clean. His voice was rough. But if there's even a chance you feel what I feel, tell me now. Sage should have said no. Should have protected herself. Should have remembered that this man was dangerous and criminal and she barely knew him. Instead, she kissed him. Jung-Min made a sound low in his throat and kissed her back like he'd been starving for it. His hands slid into her hair, angling her head for better access. Sage grabbed his shirt and pulled him closer, dizzy with want. This wasn't revenge. Wasn't fake. This was real and terrifying and perfect. Someone cleared their throat. They broke apart. Sage's assistant stood there, red-faced and studiously looking at the ceiling. Your meeting is waiting. Right. Sage's lips felt swollen. Her hair was a mess. Tell them 5 minutes. Her assistant fled. Jung-Min traced her bottom lip with his thumb. So, that wasn't for show. No. Sage's hands were still fisted in his shirt. That was very real. Good. He kissed her forehead, soft and sweet. Go to your meeting. I'll pick you up at 7. For what? A real date. Not revenge. Not fake. Just you and me. His smile was devastating. And Sage? Wear whatever you want. You don't have to impress anyone anymore. The real date was different. Jung-Min picked her up in jeans and a leather jacket, his hair slightly messy, that chain tattoo visible under his pushed-up sleeves. He looked younger, less controlled. Where are we going? Sage asked. She'd worn jeans too, a soft sweater, her hair down. You'll see. He took her hand and didn't let go. They drove to the coast, to a tiny Korean restaurant that looked like it had been there for 50 years. No reservations. No pretense. Just worn wooden tables and the smell of home cooking. The owner is my aunt, Jung-Min said as they sat down. Well, not really. But she knew my parents. She feeds me when I forget to feed myself. An older woman appeared, took one look at Sage, and started talking rapid-fire Korean while grinning. She says you're too pretty for me, Jung-Min translated, his ears going slightly red. And she's right. Tell her thank you. And that she's wrong. Jung-Min did. The woman laughed and pinched his cheek before disappearing into the kitchen. She's going to bring out everything, Jung-Min warned. Just pace yourself. He was right. Dishes kept appearing, kimchi jjigae, bulgogi, banchan of every variety. Jung-Min explained each one, teaching her how to eat them properly, stealing bites from her plate. It was easy, comfortable, real. Tell me something true, Sage said. Something you've never told anyone. Jung-Min was quiet for a moment. I'm tired. Of what? This life. The constant vigilance. Never knowing who to trust. Looking over my shoulder. He played with his chopsticks. I built an empire, but I'm exhausted from maintaining it. Why don't you stop? It's not that simple. Once you're in, you're in. There's no retirement plan for what I do. He looked at her. But lately I've been thinking, maybe there's a way out. Because of me? Because of you. He took her hand. You make me want things I'd given up on. Normal things. Dinners without security. Mornings without checking for threats. A future that isn't just survival. Sage squeezed his hand. That's terrifying. Tell me about it. I mean for me. Jung-Min, I just got out of a marriage. I'm not ready for. I know. And I'm not asking you to be. He brought her hand to his mouth. I'm just saying that for the first time in 15 years, I can imagine something different. And that something includes you. Her phone buzzed. She ignored it. It buzzed again. And again. Check it, Jung-Min said. It might be important. Sage pulled out her phone. Her blood went cold. Unknown number. Tell your boyfriend to back off. Unknown number. Image. A photo of her and Jung-Min from last week, clearly taken from across the street. They were circled in red. Unknown number. Or you'll both regret it. She showed Jung-Min. His expression went from soft to lethal in a heartbeat. Fuck. He was already pulling out his own phone, typing rapidly. Stay here. What? No. Sage. He grabbed her shoulders. This is my world. The part one didn't want touching you. Let me handle it. Who is that? Someone I thought I'd dealt with. His jaw clenched. I need to make some calls. Keep you safe. I'm not leaving you. You're not. I just need. His phone rang. He answered it, listened, then his face went dark. When? How many? Fuck. Okay. Lock it down. I'm on my way. He hung up and looked at Sage. I have to go. Now. There's a situation. What kind of situation? The kind where people get hurt if I don't move fast. He was already standing, pulling out his wallet and throwing cash on the table. Come on. They ran to the car. Jung-Min drove fast, his phone ringing constantly, each conversation clipped and in Korean. Jung-Min, talk to me. What's happening? Someone hit one of my warehouses. Set fire to it. 3 of my guys are in the hospital. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. This is retaliation for me getting involved with you. What? That doesn't make sense. Your husband hired someone to dig into me. That someone works for a rival family. Now they know I have a weakness. He looked at her, his eyes full of something like agony. You're my weakness. Sage felt ice in her stomach. I didn't know. It's not your fault. It's mine. I should have been more careful. Should have kept this fake like we planned. He pulled up to her building. Pack a bag. You're staying with me until this is handled. I can't just. Sage. His voice was hard. These people don't care that you're innocent. They'll hurt you to hurt me. So you're going to pack a bag, come home with me, and let me keep you safe. Understood. She'd never seen him like this. Cold. Controlled. Dangerous. Okay. Jung-Min's house was more like a compound, high walls, security cameras, armed guards who nodded as they drove through. This is where you live? Sage asked. Welcome to my prison. He pulled into a garage that held 6 other cars, all expensive. Come on. Inside was surprisingly normal. Modern furniture. Art on the walls. A kitchen that looked actually used. Guest room is upstairs, second door on the left, Jung-Min said, already on his phone again. Make yourself comfortable. I'll be in my office. Jung-Min. Not now, Sage. Please. He looked exhausted. I need to fix this. She wanted to argue. To help. But she recognized that look. She'd worn it herself in boardrooms when everything was falling apart. So she went upstairs, found the guest room, which was bigger than her and David's entire bedroom, and sat on the bed. Her phone rang. David. What? Sage, where are you? I came by to apologize and you're not home. I'm safe. That's all you need to know. You're with him. David's voice rose. Sage, I know what he is. I know what he does. You're in danger. I'm aware. Then come home. Let me protect you. Protect me? She laughed bitterly. David, you hired someone to investigate him. You started this. Silence. What? The person you hired works for Jung-Min's rivals. They're using the information against him. Against us. Her voice shook. So if I'm in danger, it's because of you. I didn't know. You never know, do you? You don't know that asking for an open marriage would hurt me. You don't know that your private investigator had connections. You never think about consequences. She took a breath. Stay away from me, David. You've done enough damage. She hung up. Downstairs, she heard raised voices. Jung-Min speaking rapid Korean, his voice hard and angry. Sage went to find him. His office was all dark wood and leather, a massive desk covered in papers and laptops. Jung-Min stood by the window, phone pressed to his ear, speaking in clipped sentences. He saw her and held up a finger 1 minute. She waited. Finally, he hung up and turned to face her. He looked wrecked. Hair messy from running his hands through it. Tie loosened. That carefully controlled facade cracking. You should be resting, he said. I called David. He admitted hiring the investigator. She moved closer. This is my fault too. It's not. Yes, it is. I wanted revenge so badly I didn't think about the consequences. She stood in front of him. Jung-Min, I'm sorry. I never meant for people to get hurt. I know. He pulled her close, burying his face in her hair. I know, sweetheart. They stood like that for a long moment. Sage feeling his heart hammering against her cheek. What happens now? She asked. I handle it. Make it clear that you're off limits. Permanently. He pulled back enough to look at her. But Sage, that means this fuss, it becomes real. Not fake dating for revenge. Real. Because in my world, once you claim someone, you don't let them go. Claim someone. Announce you're mine. That anyone who touches you answers to me. His hands framed her face. It's archaic and possessive and probably deeply problematic. But it's how this works. And if I don't want to be claimed? Pain flashed across his face. Then I'll still protect you. But from a distance. Sage thought about David. About 8 years of a marriage where she'd always made herself smaller, quieter, easier. Then she thought about Jung-Min, who looked at her like she was extraordinary, who'd spent 3 weeks making her laugh and feel alive and wanted. Claim me, she said. Jung-Min's eyes went dark. Sage, I mean it. I want this. You. The real version, not the performance. She kissed him, soft and sure. Claim me. He kissed her back like he was drowning and she was air. His hands tangled in her hair, his body pressing her back against the desk. You're sure? He murmured against her mouth. Because once I do this, there's no taking it back. You'll be mine and I'll be yours, and anyone who threatens that will regret it. Promise? Jung-Min laughed, actually laughed and kissed her again. You're going to be the death of me. Probably. Definitely. He rested his forehead against hers. Okay. Tomorrow I make the announcement. But tonight, his thumb traced her jaw. Tonight you're staying here. With me. In my room, not the guest room. Presumptuous. Accurate. His smile was soft. I'm not letting you out of my sight until I know you're safe. So you can sleep in my bed, and I'll take the couch, or we both sleep in the bed like adults who've been pretending not to be obsessed with each other for 3 weeks. That works too. Jung-Min's bedroom was huge, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, a bed that could fit 4 people, minimalist furniture. You really live alone in this massive house? Sage asked, looking around. I like space. Room to think. He handed her a t-shirt. You can wear this. It was soft and worn and smelled like him. Sage took it to the bathroom to change, trying not to think about what she was doing. Dating a man she'd known for 3 weeks. A criminal. Someone dangerous. Someone who looked at her like she hung the moon. When she came out, Jung-Min was sitting on the edge of the bed in just his boxer briefs, that chain tattoo stark against his skin. He'd taken off his shirt, and she could see more tattoos, Korean characters down his ribs, something that looked like a compass on his chest. What do they mean? She asked, gesturing to the characters. Fortune favors the bold. He looked down at them. Got them after my parents died. Reminder to take risks. Is this a risk? She gestured between them. Us. The biggest one I've ever taken. He held out his hand. Come here. She took it. He pulled her down onto the bed, settling her against his chest, his arms wrapped around her. This okay? He murmured. Yeah. She felt his heart beating steady under her cheek. Jung-Min. What happens after? Once you've handled the threat and I'm safe? Do we just try to be normal? I don't know what normal looks like anymore. His hand traced lazy patterns on her back. But I know I want mornings with you. Dinners where we're not performing. Nights like this. That sounds nice. It does, doesn't it? He pressed a kiss to her hair. Get some sleep, sweetheart. Tomorrow's going to be complicated. But Sage couldn't sleep. She lay there listening to Jung-Min's breathing, feeling the rise and fall of his chest, trying to figure out how 3 weeks ago she'd been planning her anniversary, and now she was in bed with a Korean MAFIA boss who'd promised to claim her. You're thinking too loud, Jung-Min murmured. Sorry. Don't be. Tell me what's on your mind. This is insane. All of it. I should be terrified. Are you? No. That's what's insane. She tilted her head back to look at him. I should be running. Instead, I'm here. In your bed. Asking you to claim me like it's normal. Jung-Min's smile was soft. Maybe we're both a little crazy. Maybe. He kissed her then, slow and deep and perfect. When he pulled back, his eyes were serious. I'm falling in love with you, he said. Just so you know. Sage's breath caught. That's not fair. I can't say it back yet. I don't need you to. I just needed you to know. Another kiss. Now sleep. I'll keep watch. You need sleep too. I'll sleep when you're safe. His arms tightened around her. Now close your eyes, Sage. She did. And surprisingly, with Jung-Min's heartbeat under her ear and his warmth surrounding her, she fell asleep. 3 months later. The divorce was finalized on a Tuesday. Sage signed the papers in her lawyer's office, Jung-Min beside her, his hand on her knee, and felt nothing but relief. It's done, her lawyer said. You're officially single. Jung-Min's hand squeezed her knee. How do you feel? Free. She smiled at him. Really, really free. They walked out into the sunshine. Jung-Min had handled the threat. She didn't ask how, and he didn't tell her, and for the past 3 months they'd been happy. Publicly together. Building something real. So Jung-Min said, opening her car door. Now that you're officially single, don't you dare propose. We've only been together 3 months. I wasn't going to propose. He grinned. I was going to ask if you wanted to move in with me. Sage blinked. That's almost as serious as proposing. I know. But I hate waking up without you. And my house is too big for one person. He brushed hair from her face. Plus, the security is better. You're very romantic. I'm practical. But his smile was soft. Also, I love you. And I want to fall asleep with you every night and wake up with you every morning. Is that romantic enough? Getting there. Sage. He cupped her face. Move in with me. Bring all your quirky coffee mugs and your truly excessive book collection. Take over my closet. Make the house a home instead of just a place I hide. Her heart was doing complicated things. You really love me? So much it's embarrassing. Ask my guys. They've started calling you the boss because I do whatever you say. She laughed. That's not true. It's absolutely true. Last week you mentioned liking peonies, and I had $300 worth delivered to the house. Those were from you? Who else would send you flowers? I thought they were from a client. She smacked his chest. You didn't leave a card. I wanted to see if you'd figure it out. He caught her hand and kissed her knuckles. So, will you move in with me? Sage thought about her apartment. Empty now except for furniture and memories she didn't want. Then she thought about Jung-Min's house. The way it had started to feel like home over the past few months. Morning coffee on his balcony. Late-night movies in his ridiculous home theater. His aunt dropping by with food and pinching both their cheeks. Yes, she said. I'll move in with you. Jung-Min's smile was blinding. He picked her up and spun her around right there on the sidewalk, both of them laughing. When he set her down, he kissed her soft and sweet and full of promise. I'm going to marry you someday, he murmured against her lips. Just so you know. Presumptuous. Accurate. Another kiss. But I'll wait until you're ready. Even if it takes years. It won't take years. Sage wrapped her arms around his neck. Maybe a year. 18 months tops. I can work with that. He kissed her forehead. Come on. Let's go home. Home. With Jung-Min. In a life she never could have imagined 3 months ago when she'd walked into that bar looking for revenge and found something so much better. They drove back to the compound, their compound now, and Sage thought about David. About how his betrayal had led her here. To Jung-Min. To happiness. Maybe she should send him a thank you card. What are you smiling about? Jung-Min asked, pulling into the garage. Nothing. Just thinking that your revenge plot worked out pretty well for me. For us. He came around and opened her door, pulling her into his arms. Best deal I ever made. Fake dating me? Real loving you. He kissed her nose. Now come on. I have approximately 200 boxes waiting in the living room because you apparently can't pack light. Those are my books. I know. I already cleared out 3 shelves for them. And bought you a reading chair. The expensive kind. Sage's heart melted. You bought me a reading chair? And a lamp. And a little table for your tea. He looked almost embarrassed. I wanted you to have your own space. Even though I secretly hope you'll read in bed with me instead. Jung-Min. Yeah, I love you too. His smile was everything. Yeah. She kissed him. I'm all in. You mean this crazy life? All of it. Good. Jung-Min swept her up, she yelped and laughed, and carried her into the house. Because you're stuck with me now, sweetheart. No takebacks. No takebacks, Sage agreed, her arms around his neck, her heart full. 3 months ago, her husband had asked for an open marriage. Hours later, she'd walked into a bar and met the love of her life. Best revenge ever. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more amazing stories.